Hi all, welcome to CSEC Biology with Mr. Charles. Today we are starting the grander topic, excretion, osmoregulation, and homeostasis. Specifically, we will be looking at an introduction to the excretory system. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to answer the following objectives. Define cellular metabolism. Explain the difference between excretion and egestion. Explain why excretion is important in living organisms. List the main substances excreted by plants and animals. And identify the means by which different substances are excreted. Let's look at the definition of cellular metabolism. Cellular metabolism is a complete set of chemical reactions that occur within the organism. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, excretion and egestion are different. Okay, they are not the same, and you must be able to distinguish between both of them. First of all, egestion refers to the elimination of indigestible material from the intestines, example cellulose. Okay, it's important to note that during egestion, okay, no chemical reactions have taken place, and the materials were never part of the body's metabolism. Okay, another thing is that egestion does not occur in plants, it only occurs in animals. Excretion, on the other hand, occurs in both plants and animals. Excretion is the elimination of metabolic waste or unwanted substances produced as a result of the reactions of cellular metabolism from within the organism. Okay? Let's now look at the need for excretion in living organisms. Why do we need excretion? Now, excretory products, they are potentially poisonous. Okay, and let me get my pen here. Okay, excretory products are potentially poisonous, okay, or hazardous. Now, when they are allowed to accumulate initially, metabolic reactions would slow down. Okay, if the accumulation continues, then the reactions may stop altogether, okay, provided that a particular concentration is exceeded. Now, this accumulation or buildup of waste substances in the organism or within the organism can create or creates an unfavorable or undesirable condition or environment for effective enzymatic activities. Remember, enzymes are very sensitive. For instance, they are sensitive to pH. Okay, or pH is a measure of how acidic or alkaline a substance is. Okay, they are also very sensitive to temperature. Okay, so all these are affected. Okay, these enzymatic activities are affected negatively if excretory products are allowed to build up or accumulate beyond their limit. Now, let's take for instance in a human, a man or woman, there is total kidney failure. Okay, if that happens, then great quantities of waste product would build up in the bloodstream of that individual. And when that happens, okay, if proper interventions are not taken, then these waste products could eventually lead to the death of the individual. Okay, and because of technological and medical advancement, we now have dialysis treatment, okay, that simulates or mimics the action of the kidney so that waste materials can be gotten rid of from the body, okay, in case of total kidney failure in humans. Okay, so if great quantities of waste products are allowed to accumulate in the organism or within the organism, it can eventually lead to the death of that organism. Okay, let's look at the excretory products in plants. Here we have a table which shows us or which outlines excretory products, the process by which they are produced, the process by which they are removed. Firstly, we have excess carbon dioxide as an excretory product. This carbon dioxide is produced during cellular respiration in plants, and they are lost through by diffusion through stomatal pores or the stomata on the undersurface of the leaf. Okay, remember the stomata are located on the undersurface. Okay, on the surface of leaf. Okay, of leaves. Okay, so that's how excess carbon dioxide are removed from the plant, okay, through the stomatal pores on the undersurface of leaves. The second excretory product in plants is excess oxygen, okay, produced by photosynthesis in green cells, and they are lost by diffusion also through the stomatal pores. Okay. Thirdly, we have calcium oxalate, and we would come to what that is exactly in a moment. Okay, they are produced by cellular metabolism, and they are stored in plant cells. Okay, they are stored in plant cells. And as you would come to realize in future slides, that plants tend to store most of their waste products. Okay, those that are lost by diffusion are carbon dioxide and oxygen, but the others tend to be stored in different parts of the plant. We also have other excretory products, example tannins. Okay, they are also produced by cellular metabolism. Okay, and they are stored and lost in old tissues. Okay, so tannins, etc., for instance, oils. Okay, plant-based oils. Okay, we also have gums. All those are excretory products by the plant. You would come to realize that plant excretory products are not as toxic as animal excretory products. Okay, they are not as toxic. Okay, and most of them tend to be stored in plant tissues. Okay, instead of being lost immediately or gotten rid of immediately, because they are not as dangerous as I stated. Okay, so these are produced by cellular metabolism in the plant. Good. Let's look at excretory products in animals, and we have a similar table here. The first excretory product we will look at is carbon dioxide, okay, produced during respiration and removed by lung exhalation, or when you exhale, okay, or you expire, right, you give off carbon dioxide from your lungs. Okay, the second excretory product that we will look at is water, and water is produced during respiration. Okay, remember the products of respiration are carbon dioxide, CO2, carbon dioxide, and water, H2O. Okay, so water is obtained in your body, okay, first of all as a byproduct of respiration, cellular respiration. Also, water is taken into the body, okay, through external intake. So for example, when you eat fruits and vegetables that contain water, for example, okay, you get water. When you drink pure water, or when you consume beverages that contain water, okay, you take in water into the body. Okay, so that's the two means by which we get water into our body. In terms of how the water is lost, it's lost through the kidneys. Okay, it's lost through the kidneys. Okay, and would ultimately leave the body as part of urine. Okay, it's also lost through the lungs. Okay, during exhalation. Okay, you lose water. For example, if you breathe against a glass, you would notice some moisture droplets forming on the surface of the glass. That's because there are water droplets in the air that you exhale. You also lose water through the skin, the pores of the skin, okay, when you sweat. Okay, so the kidneys, the lungs, the skin, these are all excretory organs in animals. Okay, sophisticated excretory organs in animals. Okay, the third excretory product that we will look at is excess salt. Okay, excess salt, and that could be introduced to the body through intake, okay, or when you eat and drink, okay, things that contain salt. Okay, they are also produced during metabolic reactions, and they are gotten rid of from the body through the kidneys and skin. For example, when you sweat, okay, you release sodium salts, or sodium and chloride salts. Okay, sodium and chloride salts, okay, in your sweat. That's why when you sweat and the sweat dries, you often realize that you could wipe the salt. Okay, you could wipe the salt from the surface of your skin. Okay, the sodium chloride salts. The fourth excretory product is urea. Okay, urea is produced in the liver by a process called deamination, and during deamination you remove the amine group from the amino acid, because remember, your body cannot store amino acid, so the amine group is removed. Okay, so deamination involves the removal of the amine group, and that amine group is then used to form ammonia, and then the ammonia is converted to urea, which is incorporated into our urine. Okay, that, and which we get rid of from our body. Okay, and although the deamination occurs in the liver, the urea that is ultimately produced is gotten rid of by the kidneys. Okay, is gotten rid of by the kidneys. So keep that in mind. Let's now look at each excretory product separately. Okay, the first excretory product we will look at is carbon dioxide. Now, carbon dioxide is a byproduct of aerobic respiration mainly, okay, and that is in both plants and animal cells, okay, both plants and animal cells. And it is a very acidic gas, okay. So when it combines with water, or when carbon dioxide dissolves in water, it forms carbonic acid, which is a weak acid. So as the level or concentration of carbon dioxide in tissue fluid and the blood becomes higher, the pH of the fluid becomes lower. Okay, and that causes an imbalance in pH. Okay, and it has severe consequences on pH sensitive reactions in the body. Okay, or reactions that are catalyzed, okay, or mediated or controlled by enzymes. Okay, remember, enzymes operate within a narrow range of pH. Okay, they operate, let me just write that. Enzymes operate within a narrow range of pH. In most mammals, this narrow range of pH is around neutral, or pH 7. And because enzymes are so sensitive to pH changes, the gas has to be removed from the body. Okay. Now, in animals, the gas is removed through exhalation, or lung exhalation. Okay, the gas is removed through lung exhalation. In plants, however, carbon dioxide's accumulation is prevented in two main ways. Okay, during the day, first of all, during the day, excess amounts, okay, is used up during photosynthesis for the production of food by the plant. Okay, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, photosynthesis. Excess amounts is excreted by diffusion, okay, and that's mainly through the leaves, okay, the stomata of the leaves. Remember, we talk about the stomata, okay, the pores on the surface of the leaves, okay. So during the day, carbon dioxide is used up during photosynthesis, and excess amounts are lost through diffusion, okay, mainly through the stomata of the leaves. Good. Now, in small singular organisms like the amoeba, okay, carbon dioxide is lost by diffusion through the cell membrane, okay, because the amoeba has only one cell in which all the metabolic processes occur. Now, as the complexity and the size of organisms increase, diffusion has to rely on or be facilitated by more complex structures, okay, including the tracheae in insects, or the tracheae in insects, the gills of fishes, and the lungs of humans. Okay, so keep that in mind. In the case of the lungs, carbon dioxide is transported to the alveoli of the lungs, okay, from the cell where they are produced, okay, and at the alveoli of the lungs, the carbon dioxide diffuse into those alveoli, okay. The alveoli are the air sacs, okay, so these air sacs are called alveoli. Okay, so from the blood, the carbon dioxide would diffuse into the alveoli, and then it would become a part of exhaled air. Okay, so it would be lost through exhalation, also called expiration. Good. The next excretory product is oxygen. Okay, oxygen. Oxygen is important or essential for the generation of energy generation during the process of cellular respiration, aerobic respiration. Okay, oxygen is also a byproduct. Okay, it's not the main product, but it's a byproduct of photosynthesis in plants, okay, which occurs during the day. Remember, it occurs in the presence of sunlight. Now, some of the oxygen produced during photosynthesis is also used for used by the cell for respiration, okay, by the plant cell for respiration. So since photosynthesis occurs faster, okay, or at a faster rate than respiration, okay, it accumulates in excess, and it occurs faster than respiration during the day. Okay, take note of that. During the day, photosynthesis occurs faster than respiration. Okay, during the night, respiration occurs faster than photosynthesis. Generally, photosynthesis do not occur at nights, but respiration occurs all the time. It's just that during the day, the rate of photosynthesis exceeds the rate of respiration. Okay, but respiration occurs all the time. Okay, now, so during the day, since photosynthesis is occurring faster than respiration, the oxygen accumulates in excess, because remember, oxygen is produced during photosynthesis. So this excess oxygen is lost by diffusion through the leaves stomatal pores. Okay, through the leaves stomatal pores. Good. Now the next excretory product we will look at is water. Okay, water. Now water, just as carbon dioxide, is a byproduct of cellular respiration, and it is not usually considered a waste material. However, the concentration of water within cells must be kept within a narrow limit or narrow range. Okay, in other words, water must be regulated within the organism. So too much water, okay, too much water or too little water will disturb the osmotic balance between cells and the external environment. Okay, so when we are talking about osmotic balance, we are talking about the balance between water within a cell and outside of the cell. Okay, there must be equilibrium. Okay, and since that is the case, water must be regulated. Okay, within the cell, water must be regulated within the cell. Good. Now we're continuing to look at water. Now animal cells will burst if they take in too much water. Okay, that's because the cell membrane of the animal cell is not strong enough to withstand the osmotic pressure that's created when too much water is taken into the cell. Plant cells, however, do not burst under osmotic pressure because of the presence of the cell wall. They are protected. Okay. Now in animals, okay, for example humans, excess amount of water is lost by sweating. Okay, so when you sweat, you lose water through the pores of your skin. Okay, so through lost through the pores of the skin. Excess amounts of water is also lost through exhalation. When you exhale, there is also moisture in the air that you breathe out. Okay, you lose water through urination. When you pass urine, okay, you lose water from your body. Okay, other mammals, okay, and other animals, they also lose water through their respiratory surfaces. Now most of the regulation of water, okay, in blood takes place in the kidney. Okay, the kidney, and we will come to how the kidney regulates water in a subsequent lesson. Okay, the kidney is a very sophisticated, a complex organ. Okay, let's look at urea. Okay, urea is produced in the liver when amino acids, okay, are deaminated. When amino acids are, okay, deaminated, or the amine groups are removed. Okay, because the body cannot store amino acids. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, your body could store glucose, it could store fatty acids, it could reuse glycerol to make glucose in times of starvation and extended fasting, but your body cannot store amino acids, which is the product, the digestive product of proteins. So any excess proteins that you consume, when that protein is converted to amino acid, if the body has no use for that excess amino acid, it will be taken to the liver to be deaminated. Okay, when it's deaminated, it ultimately leads to the production of urea. Okay, which is less toxic than the buildup of the amino acids. Okay. However, if the urea is allowed to accumulate in the blood, it can become detrimental. Okay. So keep that in mind. The body cannot store amino acids. I'll write that. Right, so the body cannot store amino acids, so excess amounts are converted to urea, which is lost in your urine. Okay, remember I stated that urea, the accumulation of urea in the blood can be detrimental, although it's less toxic than, although urea is less toxic than the buildup of amino acids. If urea accumulates in the blood, it can be detrimental. Okay, and here are some what can happen if urea is allowed to accumulate. First of all, urea directly promotes, okay, it directly promotes the death of cells or cell death. Okay, it can also lead to the calcification, right, or calcification in blood vessels, right? That's where calcium deposits, okay, would start lining your blood vessels. Okay, calcium deposits will start lining blood vessels. Okay, that's what calcification in blood vessels mean. Okay, this is what calcification in blood vessels mean. Okay, now urea is also linked to seizures. Okay, urea is also linked to seizures, okay, or fits, loss of consciousness, heart attacks, and even other life-threatening symptoms. So remember I stated that urea is formed from amino acids, okay, in the liver. However, it is not formed directly from the amino acids. The amino acids are actually converted first to the carbohydrate part, okay, and ammonia. The ammonia is extremely toxic, so it is converted immediately into the less toxic urea. Okay, so the urea is formed from the intermediate product ammonia. Okay, the carbohydrate part is used to make glucose for respiration so that energy can be generated during extended fasting or starvation. Okay, that carbohydrate part may also be incorporated into fatty acids and stored in adipose tissue. Okay, adipose tissue, this is where fats, okay, or lipids are stored. Okay, this is where fats or lipids are stored. Okay, this is where fats or lipids are stored. Good. So the urea is produced in the liver. Okay, however, it has to be transported to the kidney to be excreted. So the urea is transported by the blood to the kidneys, okay, and in the kidneys it is removed, okay, from the blood, and it forms part of the urine. Okay, so it's passed from the body as urine. Okay, great. Now there are also other waste products that are regulated or removed by the kidneys, and some of them are salts. Okay, salts, we have salts when they are in excess. We also have other nitrogenous or nitrogen based waste substances like uric acid. So nitrogenous means nitrogen base. Let me just write that. And these nitrogen based substances, okay, or well, an example of such nitrogen based substances or nitrogenous substances is uric acid. Okay, uric acid. And uric acid is actually the white spots that you tend to see in birds' feces. Okay, so these are uric acid. Okay, so humans tend to excrete urine, okay, urea in the form of urine or as part of urine. Birds excrete uric acid together with their feces. Okay, another excretory product is water. Water is also excreted by the kidneys. We also have bile pigments. Okay, they are formed from the breakdown of red blood cells, okay, every 120 days, every 4 months in the liver. Okay, and these bile pigments are released in the gut, okay, where they are excreted along with feces. Okay, so although feces are not excretory products, they are ingested from the body. The feces contain bile pigments which themselves are excretory products. Okay, the next excretory product we will look at is calcium oxalate. Okay, it is a plant-based waste material or a plant waste material, okay, that is stored in some parts of plant cells, and it is stored as an insoluble crystal, okay, or they are stored as insoluble crystals, okay, and in that crystal form they do not affect the metabolic reactions of the plants, okay. Generally speaking, plants store waste materials, okay, that they do not get rid of through diffusion. Those that they get rid of through diffusion are carbon dioxide and oxygen, but the other waste materials in plants are stored by the plants, okay, at least before they are lost, okay, when that part of the plant is shed. This storage often takes place in aging leaves, stems, roots, flowers, etc. Okay, even the bark of older plants. These waste materials, okay, that is stored in those parts of the plant, they are lost when these structures are shed. Okay. Now, plants do not need complex excretory structures. Okay, I should include complex here. Okay, so the absence of complex excretory structures in plants. That's what we're gonna look at now. Okay. Now, plants do not need complex excretory structures. Okay, they do not need complex excretory structures. Okay, and I'm saying complex because they do have excretory structures. Okay, for example, the leaf is an excretory structure. Okay, but they do not need complex excretory structures, and this is because of 3 reasons. First of all, okay, they are not very active. Okay, they're often stationary in that they cannot move from one point to the next. They are capable of growth. Okay, and growth is a form of movement. However, they do not move from one location to another. Okay, or they do not carry out locomotion. So because they are not very active as animals, they produce small amounts of waste. Okay, small amounts of waste because they are not very active. Secondly, okay, plants produce their own food. Okay, and because of that, they only make what they need. Okay, there is no excess that they would have to eliminate. Okay, and thirdly and finally, the wastes that are produced by plants, they are not as toxic. Okay, so wastes produced by plants are not as toxic as those produced by animals. Okay, so because of these 3 reasons here, plants do not need a complex excretory system, or they do not need complex excretory structures, okay, like the kidneys in mammals and the skin and so forth, okay, because of these 3 reasons. Okay, so that's all for the introduction on excretion. Thank you very much. Do enjoy the rest of your day. It has been a pleasure.